When the pattern says JS1, Japanese slip 1, it is usually at the beginning of a row after we turn. And the first thing I need to do after the turn at the beginning of a short row is our Japanese slip 1. This means that if I'm on the wrong side, my yarn is on the front, I'm going to place a marker on the yarn, on the working yarn. I'm going to hold it really close to the needles, slip the first stitch, then work the next stitch as a purl because we're on the wrong side, and make sure we're catching the marker here. At the end of a wrong side, when we turn and we are required to make the JS1, the Japanese slip, we're going to do the same thing, only this time on the right side. That means that our yarn is on the back of the work. We're slipping the first stitch, or you can first place the marker or first slip the stitch, whatever works for you. We're going to place the marker on the working yarn at the back, so the first stitch is slipped. We are holding the marker close to the needles, and we are going to knit the next stitch because we're on the right side on knit stitches, and making sure that the marker is caught here on the wrong side next to our slipped stitch. On the right side, we are told to work to the gap. You can really see the gap here, and the marker is right here on the last stitch before the gap. We are working the last stitch and we reach the gap. And now we need to close the gap. On the right side, it says JK1, which means Japanese knit 1. We are closing the gap using a knit 2 together. So that's a knit stitch, type of a knit stitch. So we're going to pull the marker and we want to place it on the left hand needle. We want to make sure that when the stitch is open, when this loop is open, the right leg is on the right, and we're mounting it so the left hand needle is coming from the front, so it looks like a regular stitch. Yarn to the back, we can take out the marker and we are going to knit it together with the next stitch, and this is what determines the color of the stitch that we are working. So sometimes it's going to be the main color. We're going to use the main color to close the gap, but if it was one stitch after and I had the CC2 color, I would use the CC2 yarn to close the gap. So the color of the stitch we are working determines the yarn we're going to use to work this stitch, not the loop. So my next stitch is a main color stitch, an MC. I'm going to use my MC yarn to close this gap. I'm going to work the next stitch together with the loop as a knit 2 together, and that's our JK1. On the wrong side, again we are working to the gap, so the last stitch before the gap is the one that is holding our marker, and we're going to work that last stitch before the gap and we reach the gap. Now we want to close a JP1. That's a Japanese purl, and this is something I learned from Susan Bryan. I need to first slip the next stitch before I work it, Then I'm going to take my marker and pull it to get this loop, which I'm going to place on the left hand needle. Again, try to see that the right leg of that so-called stitch is in the front. We're going to slip the stitch we slipped before back to the left hand needle, and now we can work these two stitches together as a purl two together, and the color that determines the stitch I'm working is not the loop with the marker but the stitch that I slipped. So although my loop is in CC1 color and I can take the marker out now that I know that this is the loop, the stitch that I'm working is a main color stitch, so I'm going to purl them together using my main color. And just, if you see the yarn, just give it a little tug and bring it all the way to the wrong side, so you can see nothing on the right side.